form. Her work is anchored in bringing attention to the physical body in the present moment. Welcome, Joanna. Hi.
Thank you, Nat.
How are you today?
Thank you, everybody who's listening in and watching.
Oh, good. How are you today?
Yes, all sorts is going on, of course. Right
Yeah.
now, some sort of nervousness, having not done one of these live streams before.
Yeah, oh, bless you. Well, thank you. I'm nervous too, and I've just seen my nails. I've been doing beetroot all day. And
Oh, not visible to me.
you think? Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway.
yeah.
Oh, so thank you for joining us today. We've kind of advertised today's podcast as uh, bringing Rumi's poem in as an active tool for presence.
Mm.
And I kind of wanted to just have a little discussion about, personally, how you have, I suppose, brought that poem into your life, how it's given you meaning, and then how you've sort of evolved it into, offering this as a practice for presence.
Right, thank you. Well, to be honest, I can't remember when I first came across the poem. It's very well known, isn't it? I'm sure pretty much everyone here is familiar with it. So it's one of those poems that's often quoted, but never ceases to be to offer something new to me every time I read it. And working with it every month as a sort of frame for a little bit of inquiry into how we might be welcoming or not welcoming present moment reality has been so interesting to me, because each month we'll take a different piece. I might look at a different line in the poem and take that as the inquiry. And so each month I've been doing this monthly guest house session since I think it was April 2021. So there've been quite a few of these. So maybe something like 40 of these monthly sessions where we're just simply using this poem as our sort of starting point. And often we'll read it together. And then, yes, like I said, just use one little phrase from the poem or one idea from the poem to sort of just inquire, how am I relating to the experience I'm having?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of taking it as, I mean, not difficult to sort of see the poem as a beautiful metaphor where the guest house is this body mind. In a sense, it's like experience arrives like guests. So experience fundamentally in the form of thoughts, emotions, sensations is just arriving or arising in us the whole time, pretty much. So just relating to the experiences as if they're coming to us rather than they are generated by us is a really lovely way of being able to then look at how we are relating to the experience that is arising, if that makes sense.
Totally. And I wonder how much that is to do with how poetry speaks to us. I'm someone that's not really, I've always struggled with poetry. It's some, it's never been in the forefront of my mind as a go-to.
Yeah.
But for me personally, when I think the poem came to me in quite a troubled time, when I was really struggling with allowing difficult feeling, allowing, having a problem.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And it got kind of, it's, I don't know, the way poetry resonates, it becomes a sort of physical experience. So it's like, okay, now I understand.
Yes.
It's giving me a framework of understanding around these big feelings.
Yes.
And Rumi's sort of, I don't know, there's love behind it somehow.
Yes, isn't there?
Isn't there?
Isn't there?
Because the breadth that of, he can just encompass everything in that, and that's so clever.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. The core of his work, as I understand it, is this exploration of divine love, which is
yeah,
unconditional.
yeah.
So this welcoming the guests, all the guests, is that unconditional divine love, which is a transformative force for us humans.
Isn't it? And the
Yes.
biggest longing that I have.
Yes.
So the gift of this poem is that it doesn't kind of let you get away with the sticky bits, because it's saying, well, you are going to have to face them. You can't just shut the door,
Yes.
So it's kind of like, come
Yes.
on.
Yes. Welcome and entertain all
Yeah,
of
there's a,
whoever arrives. Yeah.
yeah,
Not just welcome, sort of rote welcome, but actually bring them in, sit
yeah,
them down if you
yeah,
if in the image of a guest house, give them something to eat and drink, hear their story,
yeah.
give them space. So then if we're seeing that as every experience arising, every thought, every feeling, is that how is it to entertain that? How is it to really let it have its space as us?
Mm.
Let it be experienced, actually. Let it be felt. Let it be thought. And
Yeah,
as the poem beautifully says, be grateful, because we don't know what's coming next. We don't know what that's leading on to and what the gift of that is. And the gift, I mean, it's easy, isn't it? When the experience is an experience we like, it's easy to welcome.
isn't it just?
The gift, as Jung said, I think, the gift of suffering is something we're familiar with, that suffering is a gift. It's difficult, but it's not a problem. There's nothing wrong. It's a sort of visceral invitation.
And to get to a place where you can treat it as equally as things you like,
Yes.
boy,
Yes.
you
And
know,
I think that's also, it's like the layers of this experience of welcome in a way. It's like it's not realistic to welcome being in pain, for example.
sure.
I mean, it in moments, in good moments, yes. But then there's the next layer to welcome, which is I don't want this pain. So welcome the thought, I don't want this pain. So it's just like whatever's are actually arising, not what I think should be arising, but what actually is arising. Could I welcome that? And I think Rumi encapsulates that really well with the dark thought, the malice.
Yeah,
So who even that dark thought, I don't want my experience, is somehow paradoxically welcome. Could
yeah.
that guess, that thought, be allowed in?
So
Because
as
them
a
do have
tool
a
for
story,
presence,
don't they? Sorry.
yeah. No,
Yeah,
carry
because
on.
all of them, all of us who work with people know this, there is value in a sense. There is a history to everything. We can trace back why that might be there, and that we can giving space and love to that thought
Mhm.
kind of allows it to just come to rest. And
Yeah.
then, and this is another lovely thing about this metaphor of the guest house. It's like it's not a shared house where everyone comes and stays forever.
Mm.
It's a guest house where everything's passing through. And I think, Rumi's talking about the impermanence of all experience. Nothing actually is going to hang around forever.
Which is
Yeah.
kind of difficult to believe sometimes,
Yeah,
isn't it, when you're in it?
isn't it?
So if we're into distraction or suppression,
Mm,
or one might not be aware that that's what's happening,
mm.
because it's just a routine behavioral thing, isn't
Yes,
it? So the poem invites us to become conscious, doesn't
it
it,
does.
by Because it sounds like such a ridiculous request. What do you mean? Am I gonna, I've spent all my life pushing these things away.
Yes.
I'm not that person. I'm
Yeah.
nice, I'm
Yeah.
good, whatever our self-beliefs are.
Yeah.
And his sweet, kind of loving guidance allows us just to go there. Well, this is what I find for myself,
Yeah.
is that, if I just speak for myself, it allows me to go there,
Yes.
you know
Yes.
with that sort of find the tenderness and compassion.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because if I have an opportunity to do that for myself, then I could be congruently doing that with somebody else.
Yes.
I could really
Yes.
then possibly do that. So,
Yes.
um,
And I just love this, like everything. This applies to everything. There isn't, in unconditional love, there isn't anything that is excluded by definition. So even when, like you said something, you realize you've been distracted, you've been lost in thought or something. In that moment, that is seen. The lost in thought is seen. And then that too is welcome. So we can sort of take hold of this, any sort of spiritual guidance, and make it into a bit of a rule. And then we're not doing it right if we're not doing it right. But I think this poem is just offering something that touches everything, that includes everything. That is like, this welcome is universal across the board, all experience. So even the ones that we've got pegged as not spiritual or not desirable for whatever reason, those too are welcome. They're human. This being human. It's human to be distracted. It's human to be depressed and mean for a moment.
Yeah.
Momentary awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. And yeah, I mean, it kind of is like, this is the invitation, isn't it? To kind of just like slow down or calm down or, find a place to be. The poet gives us a place to be, doesn't it? Here's the house that you're in,
Yeah.
which is your
Yeah.
body, let's say, your metaphorical
Yes.
body.
Yes.
Every so often it's going to need a spring clean.
Yes,
The
true.
bugs will be out.
Yes.
There'll be things that just need a little bit of a dust or moving or putting out in the bin or, this kind of continuous,
yes.
physical,
I
relationship.
think, sorry, as you were talking, I was thinking how when we do these, it's only an hour, these monthly meetings, often people feel like they've had a bit of a spring clean and that, or a sort of landing, and that is the effect really of coming present that we all know. It's like actually coming into here now is fresh. And when we're sort of invited back, we weren't really anywhere else, but when we invite ourselves and each other in a simple reading of the poem, having a little meditation or doing a simple inquiry with someone else, it just brings us into the present moment. And the effect is relief, even though nothing's been sorted out. And I think, yes.
So on that note, I think it'd be really nice to give our audience a bit of a taster.
Yes.
Yeah?
Let's do that.
So we could read the poem.
Yes, that would be a nice thing to do, wouldn't it?
And then
Put it in
would
the
you
chat.
be open? Yeah, would you be open to giving us a guided meditation?
I'd love to. Thank you.
Great.
Yes.
Great. And then maybe after that, if it feels okay, we could explore a little bit of what happens within the group, so Yeah, yeah, we could explore the format a little bit because I think that's really important actually. So
Yes.
hopefully there are some people with us who've experienced your sessions before,
Yes.
and
We
we
can't.
welcome them obviously. And those who haven't done it, bear with us. And
Yes.
yeah,
I mean, I
yeah,
think that that's one of the things that I really enjoy about this guest house slot. For me, it's the one time when it's almost like this is a guest house too. It's the one time where anybody who has the link can show up. In my work, it's the one time that it's just, I don't know who's going to come. I don't know who's going to be there. So, and obviously each time it's a different combination of people, different number of people. Sometimes the guests come. I think once there was a guy from the States,
wow,
and sometimes often people are coming from different countries. Anyone who's in the eHealth learning network has access to it. And I really like that because it's on another level. It's this guest house. It's like just welcoming whoever's here. And one thing that people often report is just that sense of, because there's a very simple instruction, and you usually people go into breakout spaces just with one other or maybe two others, there is a sense of connection and it's immediate. So people feel like they've had a really significant meeting with someone they didn't know before. And that's another lovely quality of this like traveling, kind of opening the door to see who comes, and with that open-hearted welcome, everyone is welcome. So yes,
wow.
I don't know why I started saying that. I can't remember.
Well, and I think it's important what you said, and
Yes.
the offering that you offer that, and that's what the beauty of the format really, and having Zoom is great, isn't it?
Yeah,
Because
isn't it?
it
Isn't it?
has this immediacy about it, doesn't it?
It
And
does. Yes.
intimacy as well.
Yes. Yes.
Um, and yeah, and you can get people from all over the globe to
Yes.
to be in one space, and
Yes,
that's amazing.
exactly. And just that little moment of connection and uh, resting in the present moment, valuing the present moment, valuing exactly how it is in the present moment with others, as I said, gives this sense of relief. And I just think that's really important for, often it's at the end of someone's day and they've been giving out all day. They, as a practitioner, have been supporting others. So it's this another layer of support. Like, yes, I was just remembering about Ray Castellino's layers of support. I don't know if you know his work, but just, he had quite a significant contribution in the world of prenatal and perinatal psychology. And he was very strong on, if you want to support the baby, you need to support the primary carer, and they need to be supported. And you have these rings of support.
Mm.
And it's a bit like that with those of us who are working with people. It's good. It's easy to forget that we also need that support. And it kind of, we do.
We do. I
We do.
mean, we can't do it without it, can we? I don't think. It's really hard, or it's burnout, you know.
Exactly.
Um, the other thing I wanted to say actually before we read the poem is that what I because I get a lot out of the guest house sessions, and the one thing that comes to me really strongly is I am.
Mm.
It's like, oh my God, I do exist.
Oh,
Because I have such, it's like it's amazing. So there is this kind of relief, but there's also a kind of turning up.
yes.
So it's like, oh, I am.
Yeah.
And that's really growing in me. It's starting to do something in me. And so I find a way into what that experience is.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the questions that we ask around that kind of,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh, I am this, or or I am.
I
Yeah.
am before I'm anything.
Yes. And that's been quite revelatory. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you so much for,
Oh,
yeah.
thank you. It's lovely
Oh,
you do
yeah.
come. Yeah, it's lovely that you do and value the space. I know we keep saying we're going to do something and not, but I just there's another thought that comes.
I know this is what I love about these conversations.
Which is just in response to you saying the showing up, it's like also the welcome that we are giving each other when we're in the breakout spaces, just welcoming another in their immediate experience or their expression of their immediate experience. That welcome, I can't emphasize enough how important that is to receive. So to give it is such a gift. To receive it is such a gift, because then the person giving it is in their flow, is in their love. So yes, the welcome, which we'll come on to, because I think we'll do it. If we do it now a little bit like I would do in the monthly one, in the monthly guest house. So normally we would just, everybody would be visible. So we would then just go around and say where we're zooming in from and whether we've been in this space before and our name, just so really succinct. And then we might read the poem, and then I would do a little guided meditation, and then the breakout spaces with an inquiry. So if you and I do a sort of shorter version of that now, but starting obviously because we can't see everybody else, just starting with reading the poem.
Yeah, definitely.
So are you happy to start reading? And normally I would do this like sharing the voices, sharing the lines out so that we have lots of different voices. But just because it's only me and you here, Nat, would you like to start and read it all if you want to, or stop at some point and I'll pick up?
Okay. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor.
Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight.
The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So yes, if you would like to join in a little guided meditation, just find yourself in a position that feels comfortable enough for probably about 10 minutes. And obviously it doesn't have to be sitting, it can be sitting or lying or whatever suits you. And when you find your position, if you're comfortable to, just let your eyes close. And that simple gesture, that simple movement of closing your eyes is a bit like closing the curtains on your bedroom, being in your private space. So just bringing your attention in, noticing how your body feels. There might be some sort of activation, or that might just be a sense of heat or weight, substance. You might notice the pressure of where you're sitting, your sit bones on the chair or your feet on the floor. or where your arms are resting, your hands may be resting on your legs. Or it may be less distinct than that. Sort of hum, a sort of almost a sense of density or vibration of substance. And there may be distinct points that draw your attention. There might be, like I said, activation down your frontal line, or energy in your solar plexus or your belly, or there might be tension in your shoulders or pain somewhere if you've got some little issue that's causing discomfort. Whatever you notice, just see if it's possible in this moment just to let it be as it is. You just through your attention and your awareness, just giving space to the sense of having this body right now. And of course, this body also has this mind. So very lightly, you're also noticing thoughts arising. Some of those thoughts might be quite compelling or captivating. You might be scanning back into the day or forward into the evening or beyond. And again, just see if it's possible just to really say yes on the inside to what's arising. So whatever sensations, whatever thoughts, just giving them space through your awareness that they exist, just letting them exist as they are. And if there are emotional tones, if you're aware of feeling as in emotion, then that too, just noticing. And giving space through this awareness right now. Just letting the feeling be felt. And these waves, you could see them as waves, these waves of experience, direct experience, will be just constantly coming and going in the form of thoughts, sensations, and feelings. And there's no end point, there's no one experience that takes over or stays. It's just this ongoing arising and falling away. And if there's anything that feels too unpleasant to stay with, then it's fine just to put your attention somewhere else. Put your attention in your feet, for example, somewhere neutral, somewhere that feels safe. And maybe a really nice place to bring your attention if there is any sense of strong, challenging experiences in your breath. So just maybe bring your attention to your breathing and just notice how that movement of air in and out is looking after itself. It's this beautiful paradox of we are being breathed whilst also breathing. And it's very obvious to see the movement when we bring attention to the breathing, just the movement that we can't hold our breath, or not for very long. And actually, we can't hold on to thoughts or feelings or sensations, not for very long. So everything is passing, everything in the realm of experience is passing. And just as we're sitting here doing this together, if you like to just imagine that these arising conditions, these arising experiences are guests arriving at the door of your guest house, and your guest house, your body, mind, your sensory organism is the guest house. And the guest house host, or the owner of the guest house, is your conscious self, consciously choosing to welcome all the guests right now. Each and every one, each and every experience, welcome. And as it says in the poem, treat each one honorably. So just respecting every experience in the form that it comes right now. And just letting it be experienced. Welcome. And really no effort is required. No effort whatsoever. This is actually a very relaxing meditation. Because even if you can't distinguish what experience is coming and it all feels blurred, then the experience is that. The experience is a kind of blur, and that is welcome. Or if you're on the edge of sleep and you're sort of nodding off or catching your head nodding, that too is welcome. Or if there's an insistent little voice in your head that's determined to think about something else, or even criticizing me or this meditation or you for not being able to do it, that too is welcome. So it really is unconditional, this awareness practice that's just then bringing compassion to whatever comes into awareness. Compassion and curiosity. So just give yourself at least 3 more generous breaths before you let your eyes open. And if you like to stretch out, if there's any movement that you need to make or want to make, or your body wants to make, having sat relatively still for 10 minutes or been relatively still for 10 minutes, just have a little stretch. So thank you. So on the monthly sessions, I would normally do that, and then just see if there's something anybody wanted to report back. So Nat, the group of 1, is there anything you would like to report back? And there's no obligation to say anything.
Yeah, I was aware and of a kind of tightness around my chest, and I'd had quite a difficult conversation before I came online. Someone who I love in a lot of distress, and so there was obviously something I had to do to get myself onto the platform on time.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I was kind of aware that I'd done, I'd kind of buttoned myself up a little bit probably.
Yes.
Um, and yeah, I was kind of with that, and your guidance in the meditation really helped me to hold it, because I think that's the thing that I feel like, oh, I can't, if I need to kind of get rid of that in order to be present here. But actually, it's not that at all, is it? It's like I need to have the capacity to hold it while I'm doing this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And when you say hold it, what are you meaning there? What,
just not push it away.
not push it
Just,
away. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
not dismiss it or kind of, I
Yes.
don't know. I had an image of me running up the road
Yes.
very strongly. So, so it's not doing that. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay,
Yeah. Yes.
yeah, find space
Yes.
for it
And
to,
then, if I can just say, okay, so the lovely image of you running up the road, that one is welcome too, right?
yeah,
That's like, get me out of here quick. Yes, welcome.
yeah, because then I don't feel bad for
You don't
feeling
need to feel bad.
that,
Yeah,
it's just because I
exactly.
don't know what to do. So I'll just
Exactly.
run.
And it's in a way
Yeah,
it's hilarious, but it's not. It's tragedy. It's tragicomedy that we feel bad, isn't it,
yeah,
about
yeah,
ourselves and our experience, our inner experience.
yeah, yeah.
So, oh yeah,
Mm,
that leads me on to a little thing to say that it does feel important to say, because in this welcoming practice, it's really, to me, important to distinguish that we're welcoming the inner experience. We're not welcoming necessarily the acting out of an impulse or a feeling or a thought, because obviously that has consequences in the phenomenal world, in the real world.
mm,
But in terms of the origin of any action, the like welcoming the primary experience, the initial felt sense or thought at here at home, which is I think what you meant by holding. It's like really being alongside rather than letting it act out into the world and have the impact that we might then have to repair,
yeah.
which is easy to say and not easy to do when there's any sort of charge.
No.
Obviously, that then needs unpacking, doesn't it? When there's a charge and it's hard to stay with an experience, there's good reasons for that, and that needs a lot of compassion and
Mm,
unpacking, which obviously we don't really do in this short hour. But coming back to the immediate, direct experience, primary experience, is what we are welcoming. Yeah. Thank you. So are you comfortable to do a very typical inquiry that I would do, that I would offer others? I don't usually participate because I'm usually sitting back, organising the breakout spaces and being there in case somebody comes out. But are you all right to do that with me as if we're in a breakout room, Nat?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Lovely. Okay. So the inquiry I would normally give would be some variation on the theme of what is your direct experience right now? So if we take that and to soften that so that it's less of a inquisition, often we'll put tell me at the beginning. So tell me, what is your direct experience right now? And then are you happy to do that with me? And then so
Mm.
I'll ask you, you answer. I then say welcome. And we give ourselves a little space, and then you would ask me, and then you'd welcome me, whatever I say.
Okay.
And if we just do a back and forth of that for a little short time.
Lovely.
Thank you. So
Thank you.
tell me, what is your direct experience right now, Nat?
Softening, I think. I
Mm.
can feel, yeah, that feeling that I had is definitely not as tight. So
Mm.
I feel, yeah, I feel a softening.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Mm.
Tell me, Joanna, what is your direct experience right now?
Mm. There's a slight rabbit in the headlights. Blank. Should have changed into laughing.
Welcome.
Thank you. Um, so Nat, tell me, what is your direct experience right now?
Our space.
Oh, welcome.
Oh, thank you. So tell me, Joanna, what is your direct experience right now?
A sort of sensation in my cheeks from laughing. I was just
Welcome. It's
thank you.
infectious.
Thank you. Ah, so Nat, tell me, what is your direct experience right now?
Oh, happy. I
No,
just feel, yeah, I mean, yeah, just feel really happy in that moment.
welcome.
Thank you.
Mm. And so it goes on. I mean, we could keep going, but I don't think we need to. Um, I think neither of us had a particularly difficult experience then, did we? I mean, I think the most difficult was me not knowing what to say, the rabbit in the headlights.
Mm.
And just to know that I was going to be welcomed, just really give space to that, ooh, that's not the right answer feeling. That's not what I should be saying. So that's the beauty of this when you do this back and forth for quite a while, isn't it? It's like
Yeah,
really anything is going to receive the welcome.
yeah. And it's sometimes a real surprise what
Mm.
comes out of your mouth,
Isn't it?
because what I'm really aware of is how much I rehearse. So it's like, oh,
Yes.
I'm practicing all the time this kind of response. It's so hard to be in the moment because I think I need to have it all sewn up before I've even got there.
Yes.
The rehearsal that's
Yes.
going on all the time.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, so I find it actually really difficult to be,
Yes.
you know, in the moment because
Yes.
I've jumped ahead about a couple of years.
Yeah. Which of course too is welcome. If you were to say, if I'd asked you and you were to say, I'm rehearsing what to say, of course that would be welcome, which is the funny
Yeah.
thing. But
And
yeah,
that's hopefully the bravity that comes, is that you can dare to be that honest with yourself. Because obviously you're being welcomed by someone else, but you're definitely hearing what you're saying.
yes,
You know, it's like, oh God, I can't believe I said that.
yes.
But it's but it's, you know, it can have a lightness to it. And this is what I'm discovering, you know, like I've been so serious about everything for such a long time because that's just been my conditioning. And actually I can find lightness here,
Mm,
you know, by
mm.
in the honesty.
Yes.
Oh, suddenly we share this common ground of both
Yeah.
being massively imperfect.
Yes.
Hooray!
Yes, isn't it? Isn't
Something
it?
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love the simplicity of, the common ground, what the common ground that we share in that's so obvious in something as simple as this is just the human experience. That is our common ground. And that it's not up to us, actually, what we feel or think in any moment.
Mm.
Actually isn't up to us on closer inspection. It just pops in. What we then do with it is a little bit more up to us,
Mm.
isn't it?
Mm.
So the sort of secondary, that we've been looking at the primary experience, and then there's all sorts of how we relate to that initial experience, which you could call secondary and ongoing, and layers. And that's where, the judgments are and the preferences and that making meaning from and organizing, and not necessarily negative, but joining up different experiences, making a coherence. That's in the secondary, and that's welcome too. But it's what we're doing here is stripping it back to the direct experience right now. And what's funny about that is however much you've rehearsed, as you were saying, as they're saying it, when you get to the word now, it will be slightly different.
Mm. Well, thank you for that.
Well,
I
thank
think
you.
it's yeah, good to, you know, kind of bring that to light actually. So the practice itself, you know, because I think it's a really useful practice and people can take that home with them
Mm,
anyway, can't they?
yes.
And do that
Yes.
anywhere,
It's
you
very
know.
simple. Yeah.
Um, so we've got about 10 minutes left. I'm just wondering whether we open it up to questions and whether anyone has
Absolutely. If
anything
there
that
is
they
anyone with a question,
would they'd
then
like to ask.
while people are just thinking of their questions, I can just think of something else. I did say at the beginning, often I'll take something from the poem, and then in the example we gave, I didn't. But I mean, what I might do is offer the one we just did. Tell me, what is your direct experience right now, as an initial inquiry, and then to get people used to it, and then add in something like a second question, something like, and what is it like to welcome that experience, uh, or meet that experience at the door laughing and let it in. So that's a line from the poem. Or
Lovely. Yeah.
what's it like to treat this experience honorably, or something, taking a line from the poem. So yes, just to explain that.
Good. Thank you for that. Thank you. Alice has said, sorry guys, I need to go get ready for work. I'm from New Zealand. How
Oh,
good's
wow.
that?
Oh,
How lovely. Well, thank you for joining us, Alice, because you're very welcome. Fantastic. And Samia, becoming an empty channel, I feel more at peace. I guess that was after the meditation. So that's beautiful, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah. Magdalena, oh my goodness, that's been such a wonderful talk. Thank
Oh,
you.
that's so
That's
sweet to have
great.
these messages coming
Isn't
in.
it?
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and Patty, thank you for this gem of an experience. I will savor welcoming, meeting the experience at the door. Thank you from British Columbia, Canada. Oh, and welcome, welcome. Yeah, the poem is yeah, boundless.
Mm, mm.
Diana, such warmth in my body, and I feel a big smile within.
That's very sweet. Thank you.
Well, no. Karen says, you go, everyone. The magical mystery of meeting each other in our humanity is so precious, tender, and ordinary.
Oh, thank you, Karen. That's lovely. And
And Chris, what a complete joy to be in your presence this evening. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you, Chris. Mm.
Isn't everyone so lovely?
Yeah,
I
thank you.
mean, you know, that's what these gatherings, I really feel that's what this is about, isn't it? Is really just finding that out because every day we're looking at things that aren't so lovely and draw us out of this kind of sense and,
Yes,
um, into overwhelm.
yeah,
Um, so, this
yeah,
practice can really help to anchor,
yes,
stabilize,
yes,
feel experience for an individual.
yes,
Mm,
yes.
yeah, we need that, I think.
I'm just thinking that, I think it came up earlier that it's very easy to relate to difficulty as if it's a problem. And that just the shift of recognizing that it's difficulty is challenging, but it's not a problem. It's always an opportunity. I say just the shift. It's a big shift, but it makes all the difference when we remember that, doesn't it?
Mm.
So then even when things are difficult out in the world or in our personal lives, there's like if we take the challenge of what needs to be felt, what needs to be included, what needs to be integrated, then there's an invitation rather than something's broken or something's wrong. And that gives hope again or gives a sort of
Yeah.
sense of integrity again.
Yeah. And
Right.
then the pressure is different, isn't it? It's not, it
Mm-hmm.
changes that, it gives us a bit of space to maybe respond in a different way that we might not have done.
Yes.
The reaction may be slower,
Yes. Yes.
possibly.
Yes.
Mm.
And there's another message in there from Sue. Welcome to overwhelm and all the difficulties, indeed. Yes.
Mm.
Yes, very much. We need to welcome each other in the difficulties. And there's this lovely phrase, and I don't know who originally said it, but some story about somebody asking their spiritual master, what do I do with my experience? Or what do I do with my inner experience, possibly? And the master says, nothing. And it is just that, just experience. So the welcome is actually just an invitation to experience our experience. And then, as we know, as everything is impermanent and passing, another wave comes. It's like as that experience recedes, something else comes, and just back as in the poem again. It's like we don't know what is coming next. We don't know what the space is being swept clean for another guest to come in. So staying with the waves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as you say that, I'm struck by, I often can describe my emotional state as being full up. It's like I can't take anymore
Yes.
because
Yes.
I'm full up with it. I
Yes.
don't know. And so actually the guest house is inviting us to really, keep the movement of it going. So you're not stuck holding all of that stuff, trying to fix it, trying to,
Yes.
problem solve. Actually, it's kind of like, it's not really anything you can do about it apart from let it go.
Yes.
or, you know, because there's
Yes,
something else going to come in any minute.
yes, exactly. And then the beautiful thing is, you know, I'm just saying what I'm always saying, but the beautiful thing is then the experience is full up. So welcome to that feeling full up, and really let that have its moment.
Mm.
And when that's really welcome and allowed and felt and included, somehow mysteriously that too changes.
Yeah.
You didn't do anything to unload what was filling you up, but it's just meeting it, meeting it.
So that's some kind of alchemy there,
Yeah, exactly.
isn't it?
Isn't it?
Whoa.
And it's such a beautiful alchemy, isn't it? It's what an absolutely incredible creation that we're living as part of. I mean, how?
That's
It's
blown my
just,
mind.
it's mind-blowing, isn't it? It's just awe-inspiring.
Yeah, because you're not actually doing it.
No.
It's
No.
like it's just something that's happening. Oh
Yes.
my goodness.
And it's happening in a similar way to all of us, but very, very individually
Absolutely.
and uniquely.
Mm.
No one else is having exactly this experience in this moment. No one else. And nor will I have this experience exactly this ever again. So it's like there's this incredible precision that's happening, and it is mind-blowing, heart-blowing.
Yes. And maybe we need that, but we need to be blown, don't we? Like there's somewhere it's like that's the wonder. Here it is. Holy shit.
Yes.
Excuse my language, everyone. But you know, what else are you gonna say? You know, it's like then, you know, it's interesting that the word awe, you know, it's like, you know, we're talking about alchemy and it's like suddenly substance is changing.
Mm.
It was one thing and actually, oh, it's something else. So, you know, to discover awe, I think maybe this is like some medicine we need that might be missing in our culture, that might be missing in our lives, is just to be taken aback a minute and being like, wow, that's amazing. Gosh, thank you, Joanna.
Oh, pleasure. Thank you, Nat.
Well,
Yeah.
what a happening.
Hmm.
What a lovely happening.
Mm.
And anyone who's interested in your work or coming to the session, I
Yes.
think everything is in the chat, isn't it?
Yeah,
Um,
I think it
they
is.
want to find out a little bit more about you and what we're doing on this platform, then yes, do visit those websites and really hope to see some of you guys in the breakout room. I hope you've enjoyed the session.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
thank you everyone who's been here. Thank you.
because even though we can't see everyone, we can definitely feel you. So it's like that has just been such a supportive experience. Thank you, everybody. And I also want to thank, and I always mean to do it, and I forget, is Natalie, the other Natalie.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
Nat and the other Natalie, because she's behind the scenes doing all the techie stuff.
Yes.
And we definitely wouldn't be here without her. And I mean to say it every time we do a
Mm.
podcast. But yes, thank you so much, Natalie.
Mm.
Oh, well, okay, everyone. Thank
Great.
you for
Thank
joining us today
you.
on this podcast. Have a lovely rest of your evening, everybody, and we'll see you again soon.
Great.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Joanna.
Thank you.